Hi guys, welcome for another video. If you're new, my name is Bailey and I make lifestyle videos. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than what I usually do. I mentioned a while back that I really wanted to get into reading. I just really enjoy it, but I never really made time for it. Like in college and stuff, I was always just preoccupied with other things. It's November now, but back in May, I first read Where the Crawdads Sing, and that was really, really good. And then after that, I put on my Instagram for people to give me book recommendations, and a few people recommended to me Colleen Hoover. They're like, anything by Colleen Hoover. So I think the first book that I read by her was Verity, not 100% sure. But after the first book that I read by her, I was hooked. I just could not stop. I was reading them every single day and finishing a book like literally in 2 days. If you've read her stuff before, you know you just get hooked on it. After that, I just decided to read all of her books. I was waiting for It Starts With Us to come out, her newest book, and that came out 2 weeks ago. And then I read it, and now I've officially read all of her books. So I thought it would be fun to do a video of me tier ranking them. So I have my laptop right here. I'm gonna start screen recording. Okay, so I first want to say that I am going to be really picky with the Loved It 5 out of 5. I want to preface with that because I feel like I have quite a few that are going to be in that row, but these are truly going to be books that I would rave about. I would say to my friends, you have to read this. This is so good. With that being said, I also really like Colleen Hoover's books, and there are a lot that I like. So I'm just going to start with All Your Perfects. That's going to be in the Loved It. I absolutely love this book. It gave me a really different perspective on infertility and loss, and I just thought it was really, really good. I would recommend that to everybody. Confess, I really didn't like this that much. I'm gonna put it in liked it but wouldn't recommend. I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it in didn't like. It's just not very memorable to me. I read it really fast and I don't know. I just didn't like it that much. Let's go with Hopeless. That is a Loved It. It is so good, and there's a big twist in it too, and I just thoroughly enjoyed that. Regretting You, liked it but probably wouldn't recommend. I thought it was a good book, but the story was just kind of sad, honestly, and I don't know, it didn't really keep me as hooked as some of her other books and just other books in general have. Next, I'm gonna do Heartbones. This one's probably liked it, but wouldn't recommend. It's definitely like a summer read. I think it was kind of more predictable than I would like. It just didn't do it for me, but I liked it, and a lot of people love that one. Layla, okay, I feel like this is kind of controversial. A lot of people have different opinions about Layla, but I loved it. I thought it was really good. It was definitely super weird and different than her normal stuff. Most of her books are romance, and I think actually all of them almost are romance, and Layla is paranormal vibes. So definitely different. When I started reading it, I was really confused, but I liked it. It was suspenseful. I'm gonna go ahead and put It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us in the top. I absolutely loved these books. It Ends With Us is definitely a hard read if you haven't read it. It deals with domestic violence and breaking the cycle of abuse. I think it gave me a really good perspective on that and a new perspective. And then It Starts With Us is a sequel to It Ends With Us. Like I said, I just read that last week and it was so good. I loved getting the continuation of the characters' stories from It Ends With Us, and so I really loved that. So maybe someday, maybe not, and maybe now our series. I liked it when I read it. I don't know if this happens to you guys, but you read books, well, I read books, and then I will put it on my Goodreads, the app Goodreads, and mark it as read, and then I rate it or whatever, and then I read through other people's reviews, and then it'll change what I think about it, because I'll not be super critical of a book, and then I will see these people that wrote this stuff and I'm like, wow, that stuff's really true, and it changes my opinion. So when I first read this entire series, I really loved it. I might have even put it in the Loved It 5 out of 5, but after reading other people's reviews and just thinking about it more, I don't know, I don't like it as much. I'm gonna put it in liked but probably wouldn't recommend. And then maybe not is the second one. I didn't like this, but I think that I'm not going to put it in the don't waste your time, because if you're reading the series, then, you know, read that. It just goes with it. It's a novella, I believe. Maybe Now. I like that too. Gave a different character's perspective, but I don't know, the whole story is just kind of lacking for me. November 9th. I feel like it's only fitting that I do this today and put in the loved it, because today is November 9th. I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was so good, and it just kept me hooked, and I loved the story of the characters too. It was really sweet. Never Never. I don't know where to put this, because I was extremely disappointed by this book. I thought it was going to turn out way differently than it did. Like, just because of the ending. If the ending had been different, then I would probably put it in really liked it. But just because of the ending, I'm putting it in didn't like. You think it's going to be paranormal, but then it's just like a cheesy romance, and I don't know. I just was super disappointed in that. Too Late. Oh my gosh. I just genuinely hated this book. I wish that I could go back and unread it. When I was reading it, I was just trying to read it as fast as I could to get done with it. It is super dark. I feel like the characters are so underdeveloped, and like two characters fall in love irrationally fast. I just did not like it at all. I would not recommend that. Please do not read that. Reminders of Him. I really like this one. I can't decide if it's... I think I'm going to put it in really liked, because I really, really loved this book, but I just don't think it's quite there for the loved it column. But I would recommend this to anybody. I think it's a really great read, and really quick too. Ugly Love. Oh my gosh, it is so, so good. I loved this story so much, and I just feel like Colleen Hoover really got to show off her like poetic style of writing. It's so good. It's heartbreaking. The only hang up I have with it is that the very end I felt like was pretty rushed. I also felt like that with It Starts With Us, but regardless, it is still so, so good. I'm gonna go ahead and put Verity up there too. Verity is so good. It's a thriller if you haven't read it, and it keeps you on your toes. You absolutely cannot stop reading. I remember being in the car with my husband, and we were on the way somewhere. I think we had a long ride, and so I was just reading, and I can't always read in the car. It's just random. Sometimes I get car sick, sometimes I don't, but I was car sick, but I was pushing through because I needed to know what happened. My hands were shaking. It was just it was so good. I would recommend that for sure. This one is a little more controversial too. I think I'm gonna put Without Merit and really liked it. So this book I thought was really good. It's way slower paced than most of her, or all of her other books, honestly. But I just really liked the story. I really liked what it was about. It gave me a whole new perspective on depression, and I just really, really liked it. I thought it was a really good read, and it's definitely going to stick with me. So Hopeless, Losing Hope, and then Finding Cinderella is a series. And then you're supposed to read All Your Perfects after that, and then Finding Perfect ties all of the characters together. Finding Cinderella, I mean, it's a little novella, so it's a really quick read, but I liked it okay, I guess. I feel like you have to read it to be able to like connect all of the stories back together. Like, you can't read Finding Perfect and then not read Finding Cinderella. So I'm putting it in liked it, but probably wouldn't recommend. I would recommend reading it because of the connections, but it's definitely not worthy of being in the really liked it. And then Finding Perfect, I'm gonna have to put that in loved it. It's also a novella. I think it is so good, and I just love, like I said, I love All Your Perfects so, so much. And the way that Finding Perfect ties all of the characters together, it's truly perfect. I loved so much about it. And then Losing Hope, I just did not like this. This is the male perspective of Hopeless, and I'm putting it in don't waste your time, because it was like you've already read this entire story and now you're just getting the guy's perspective. But through reading Hopeless, you already like know the guy, and you kind of know what he was thinking the whole time, and so it just felt like a waste of time to me. I flew through that one because I wanted it to be over. Lastly, Slammed, Point of Retreat, and This Girl are a series. I liked Slammed. I thought it was good, but I don't know if I would recommend it. It didn't stick out to me. It didn't really do much for me, but I enjoyed the read. And then Point of Retreat was also about the same. I'm gonna put it in the liked it, but probably wouldn't recommend. And then This Girl, it's similar to how Losing Hope is to Hopeless, but it's like the two characters and they kind of reminisce on past stories, and so you get the guy's perspective from a lot of it. And so it's like set in the future and he's just kind of telling her things. I don't know, it just felt like a waste of time to me because she's already wrapped up their lives and their story kind of feels complete. It just felt like overdone. Like I didn't think the characters needed anything else, so I'm putting this in please don't waste your time. Last thing, as I'm looking at this, I think I'm gonna switch Heartbones to Really Liked It. Because, I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I feel like Heartbones is just as good as Reminders of Him, and I really like the summer vibes of it too. So I'm going to keep it like that. But overall, I think Colleen Hoover is a really great author. I know there's a lot of controversy about that and people have their opinions, whatever, but her stuff is really easy to read and it's good stories overall. I just really like the way she writes. I would love to hear what you guys think. If you have different opinions from me, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll be making some more book videos soon because I have so many things on my TBR that I have just been building up because I've just been reading Colleen Hoover books, so I'm excited to read those. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you aren't already, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye.